15 years with 4. WTVJ's 15th anniversary. A look back.
Good evening, this is Ralph Renick. Here in this building, Florida television began 15 years ago this week. WTVJ on March 21st, 1949, began broadcasting and became the first television station in Florida, and one of the first in the nation, number 16, as a matter of fact. The gentleman with me this evening was here that first night we began television. Mitchell Wolfson, president of Wometco Enterprises and WTVJ.
Ralph, that night seems a long time ago. I'm reminded of it by this picture, taken the split second we went on the air in 1949. As you can see from our beginning, we were aware of the public service potential of television. Present that night was the late Rabbi Switman of Temple, Israel, Bob Quinn, representing the city of Miami, the late Dr. Bowman Ash, first president of our great University of Miami, Father Vincent Burke of Barry College, as well as our management. But I must admit, we didn't realize then the full impact this new medium would have on the community.
Well, Mr. Wolfson, I've never heard the answer to this question. Why did you begin WTVJ? Why did you initiate television in this state?
Well, Ralph, as you probably have heard, I was engaged for a while, in fact, 2.5 years in World War II. I spent some time in England, North Africa, then in the invasion through Italy, southern France, Germany, and Austria. And I saw then that modern civilization depended on communications. The German army was really defeated when we destroyed their communications. And I made up my mind when I got back to the States and got back to private industry and interest that I would engage our company in some form of communications. Having been in the motion picture industry where we were well acquainted with both sight and sound, it seemed to me that television had the greatest opportunity in which we could serve and profit from communications. And I made up my mind right then and there, and of course, as soon as I got back, we immediately became interested in this new medium of television, and that was basically the reason why we've gone into television and built the first television station in the state of Florida.
That's an interesting answer, Mr. Wolfson, and the history of this station is equally as interesting. We've gone back through our film files to pick out some of the high points of WTVJ's progress, and incidentally, some of the events of the community that television has brought to light. This one atop the Everglades Hotel, 306 feet high. Inside that building was our original small studio, and it still exists today. $299 to buy a set, and mind you, you had to finish building the set yourself.
You know, Ralph, in those days, we probably didn't have over 1,000 or at the most 2,000 viewers. And think of it, today, on some programs, we have as many as 1,500,000 viewers.
One of the first events that WTVJ
television was ever shown in the state of Florida.
There were other live events that we covered. The Senate crime hearings being held in the courthouse that year. There still weren't many sets around, and the store window programming.
You know, this particular presentation of ours, I think, helped rid Miami of the rampant gambling that existed at that time. Of course, we all admit we have some Bolito and some sneak gambling today, but television aroused the public, in my opinion, to such an extent, as did these Senate hearings, that wide open gambling which existed at that time was completely eliminated from Dade County.
One of the first evidences of the power of this new media, new studios. Of course, the marquee had a name change too, it was now official that Florida had a television station. We were the most modern, well-equipped TV station, and it's continued until today. We invited some top network brass down, and the top network show also came down en masse to help us celebrate our new facilities in 1952 and to originate the show from here.
Arthur Godfrey and his friends was the country's top show then. He and his group came down to originate their show at our new studios. And, of course, I was on hand at the airport to greet them.
Well, there we see Halaloki and Luann Sims, Jeanette Davis, Marion Marlowe, Julius LaRosa, and Frank Parker. About this time, we had our own people who were just as famous to local viewers through their own live shows. Jack Lee Taylor and Helen Ruth with Menu Magic, a cooking show. Cobb's Corner with Jack Cobb and friends. Alec Gibson and his variety show. Seen there with Beryl Phillips. Glenn Gregory with Mickey, his talking dummy. Oh, this next fellow also looks familiar. Bob Weaver. And a skinny actor now. And the Vagabond, Alan Key. Then on July 1st, 1952, the coaxial cable was connected, and we had our first live show from New York. You may remember it was Arthur Godfrey. Another Channel 4 milestone. Well, one of the first assignments for the truck was the Ringling Circus at Sarasota. 1954, a debate on this station probably proved that television was established as a vital part of our life more than anything else to date. Acting Governor Charlie Johns, his opponent Leroy Collins. Collins has said this single incident coming up elected him governor of Florida.
And I was amazed when I came into the studio tonight out on the street to pick up a copy of tomorrow morning's Miami Herald to find that the meeting had already been held. And I just wanted to ask the acting governor something about this. Now, here's a copy of tomorrow morning's Herald. And it's an official advertisement by Acting Governor Johns. And he says, proof that truth is mightier than the syrupy mouthings. Governor Johns' direct talk to the people of Dade wins wide support. Now, this is in the morning's paper, not this morning. Well, Senator Collins, wherever you are, we told you what would happen. You asked for it on television last night, and you got it. And that's the sort of advertising that's been prepared and run in a local paper 2 hours before the meeting is held, and I find that I'm already convicted.
All right, Senator Collins, Acting Governor Johns. Governor, any statement?
I do not have anything to do with any advertisement. Not to start with. I mean, I didn't know anything about any advertisement that's going to be put in the paper, because that's not Charlie Johns, and the citizens of Florida knows it's not Charlie Johns. But I've carried on a good, clean, decent campaign, and Leroy knows it.